Hey guys, Ken here from the Retro Toy Escapades channel in Malaysia. Now I have in hand here a 1987 Dino Riders Styracosaurus packaging box. Okay, it's just a box. I no longer have the dinosaur. I think that thing got traded off a couple of years ago. But the box is something that I've kept throughout the years because the packaging boxes from Tyco's Dino Riders line are some of the most absolutely jaw-droppingly amazing boxes ever put up on a toy shelf. And you know what? I just can't believe that stuff like this was being produced in the 80s, especially when it comes to the way that it was actually packaged in box. We're going to talk about it in the video today, so thank you for joining me. And let's get down into checking out, first of all, the awesome imagery that you get on the front of the box here. The Styracosaurus is in battle. In fact, 3 of them are launching an all-out weaponized attack against the standout dinosaur from the whole line, which is the T-Rex. That's right, the T-Rex is taking on heavy fire, but it's going to make it, I'm sure. All right. Now, over at the side here, you get a close-up, blueprint sort of like setup here of the whole actual toy itself. It says here, fully accessorized dinosaur ready for battle. What's interesting here is at the top there, it actually says collector's edition comic book inside. Now, just the word collector's edition, in relation to a toy that was made for kids in the 1980s, I think that term was maybe a little bit ahead of its time. I have heard of the word collector's edition being used with comics, even far back as the 80s, more commonly in the 90s though. But back then in 1987, I think that this term was seldom dropped, okay? Think about it, guys. Anyway, Tyco was pretty much ahead of the game. Now, over at the top side of the box, you do get even more photos of the actual dinosaur on display and everything that it actually does, including a battering ram head action. One of the great things about 80s packaging boxes is that they used a lot of real photos and they actually filled up the entire box, okay? Front, back, top, bottom, sides, with, information, text, photos, you name it. Over at the bottom here on the flip, you get the same images repeated, except that now there's a stamp here that allows you to redeem 2 points, okay, to save on Dino Riders premiums. Probably there was a promotion back in the day. Most 80s toy boxes had this promotion. Now, I always find it really great and informational when the packaging box comes with the store's original price tag. It says here that this thing was from Yauhan, a chain of department stores that were there in Malaysia back in the 80s. They're no longer around. But more importantly, it states here that the thing was selling for a price of 29.90 Malaysian ringgit, okay? Man, back in the day, that amount was like gold to a lot of kids. But these days, it's like pocket change, okay? I can't believe the prices of these toys back then. Man. But you know what? 29.90 was pretty much the going rate for a lot of 80s toys. Even the Mars Thunderhawk. These days, everything's like a fortune. Now, over on the sides, you get the same images of the Styracosaurus are repeated, but it's great, okay, that we have the artwork panels here, right, on both sides, okay. Like I said, every inch of the box is just filled up with artwork, but when you flip it all the way around to the back, man, check this out, okay. This is where you get the real money shot here. This image here is like probably the most popular and well-known image of the Dino Riders. When you think of the Dino Riders, this is probably like the first art image that comes to mind, visually, because this image was like reprinted so many times through the years, on art prints, posters. Every time you think of Dino Riders, there's always an image like this in an article or something like that. It's got the whole gang in full battle. You got the 2 mega beasts of the line, the T-Rex and the Diplodocus. Man, any kid back in the day that had these 2 guys, right, in the collection, that's it, okay? You were like, the top of the heap, okay, in the coolness stakes. Okay, these 2 are like the hardest, even today, okay, to obtain, man. And at the sides here, there's a lot of text, okay. They explain to you the whole premise of the battle of the Dino Riders. And I'm going to just leave this thing here. You guys can just screenshot it to read it, pause it, do whatever you need to. But yeah, there's a lot of information here that explains the battle that rages on Earth between the Dino Riders factions. And over at the bottom still, okay, there's information here, very accurate information on the actual dinosaur itself. So they were in fact attempting to educate kids on dinosaurs, and that was one of the main marketing tools for the Dino Riders, I believe, because when you stripped away all the weapon systems, what you got underneath was actually a pretty authentic replica of a dinosaur sculpt, right? So there's a lot to learn here, but back in the day, I don't know, for some reason, maybe just, kids weren't latching on to the whole concept. But man, they tried, okay? Tyco did really try. And here's the bit, okay, that really gets to me, right? About this whole packaging box. The bit that makes me feel that this thing was just ahead of its time. Not just in terms of the toys itself, the sculpting and stuff like that, but also in terms of the packaging. Because when you open up the front flap, okay, the front of it is actually this flap that opens up. You see this display here? That's very collector focused, okay? you get like this interior window box that's covered, all right? That's where the dinosaur goes in. And you also get this top panel here, all right, that's got all these additional photos. This display presentation of the box, it's very current. Okay, like I said, back then in the day, you wouldn't really find stuff like this. It wasn't common, okay, not in any of the major toy lines. Okay, you just get like the box, okay, and all the stuff was just shoved in. But to get a toy box presented to you in this way with, so much style, right? I mean, and, just such a focus on the collector, which, back then, honestly, like I said, okay, the term adult collector, I'm not really sure if it existed. I mean, did it? I don't think that it was the norm though. Now, something about the entire presentation of this package makes me feel that there was a direction from Tyco Toys to cater the entire line to a more sophisticated audience that wanted these really beautiful dinosaur sculpts to be kept as a collection. Not just, maybe they didn't really care about the weapon systems and stuff like that, but they just wanted the accurate dinosaur sculpts. Now, for whatever reasons, the toy line didn't take off with kids, like I mentioned. In fact, it wouldn't be until years later in 1993 when Jurassic Park hit, okay, and the Kenner toys came out. Man, that stuff just blew up, and it kept on blowing up even until today, right? So like, Jurassic World these days is like really hot, okay? And yeah, dinosaur toys are big, okay? I've done a lot of videos on the channel as well. And in fact, if they were to relaunch the Dino Riders, Mattel owns the line now, okay? If they were to relaunch the Dino Riders alongside Jurassic World in the toy store, I'm betting you, okay, there's going to be an audience that's just going to eat this stuff up like M&Ms, okay? Anyway, guys, that's the video. Let me know what you thought of it in the comment section, and I'll catch you guys again real soon with more content. Thank you, and take care out there.